And we're live. Hey everyone, welcome to the Firehose Project Software Engineering Info Session. I'm Marco, I'm one of the co-founders here and a code mentor, and I'll run you through our info session today. Before I dive in, let's go over what we cover in this info session. First of all, I always want to talk about why we're doing this, why software engineering, why web development, where does this fit in the big picture of everything, coding, software, the whole ecosystem of jobs, industries, tech. I want to talk about that a little bit, and then I want to talk a little bit about intro course, coding bootcamp prep course, what to expect in there. And I know a lot of you who are watching right now already signed up for that and coding with us, which is awesome for everyone else. I'll give you a bit of a roundup on that. And then I go into our full program and explain what we're doing there in terms of web development, software engineering, algorithms, coding, challenges, database structures, that stuff. Talk also about the Agile team project. And then at the end, I also want to talk about our job support that we have on our platform, how that runs, how we run you through that. And then also talk about or answer all your questions. So if you have some questions, and I know some of you already emailed me some questions, which is awesome, thumbs up. Send them to me. Go into either one of the sites. There's the chat box on the YouTube page. Go there, enter them there. I will check them after this, or email them straight to me. You guys should have all received an email, and I catch the emails afterwards. Okay, let's jump right in. Why are we doing this, right? Why does it make so much sense to learn to code now at this point in history? I think it's never been a better time to learn how to code. And I think there's two main reasons for that. And the first one is software engineering and web development are an extremely in-demand field, right? If we're looking on statistics that are released in the US alone, there's hundreds of thousands of open positions right now at this moment. So having those skills for a sector that has open positions is really good. Now, that field is also growing, right? There's a saying, software is eating the world. So being in a place that is growing so fast is always good. And then you can ride that wave moving forward. And if we're thinking about what companies like Airbnb are doing, right? How they're changing and the entire hotel booking industry. People can invite strangers into their house, and there's a huge industry that they're disrupting. We're looking at all the way back to SpaceX and how we're trying to colonize Mars, right? Way far out ideas for humanity. But all of that is driven by code, and software engineering is at the center of it. So that gets me to my second point, which is if you're in that field of software engineering and web development, you're going to impact a lot of people, and improving a lot of people's lives is something that is such a great feeling, and being able to do that every single day gives a lot back from that job. So the 2 points, software is eating the world, there's huge demand for that, and then giving back to a lot of people. I think that's why a lot of people have that drive to go into that field, and that's something that's really powerful. It's what I hear consistently, what drives me waking up every single morning writing code. Now, let's talk about the intro course. First 2 weeks of our program is kind of like a prep course where we want to make sure you're ready. That's completely free. We teach you HTML, CSS. We have you build a portfolio page, make you host that on the internet. We also teach you Ruby programming skills, right? We want you to write your first few lines of Ruby code, build your first programs, and submit all of that for a review. Just like in the real world, we give you feedback on your code and want to make sure that you're good. And if you need more help, we have help available. So if you're not coding on the intro course right now, I highly suggest you go to firehoseproject.com, sign up for the intro course, and go through and prepare yourself for our program or for any other program that's out there. I promise you it'll be a lot of fun, and you walk away with a portfolio page with all your projects in there, with your code in there, and it'll be really helpful for you no matter what you do. Now, let's talk about the full program. Full program is kind of like two separate paths starting out. We have the web development path and we have the algorithm path. And you're going to walk on both of them in parallel until they merge and you're ready for the Agile team project. Now, I'm going to talk first about the web development path and all the apps that we're building there. I'm going to jump quickly into the algorithms and data structures as well. For the web applications, everyone who starts out with the Firehose project, right after finishing the prep course, builds a first web application within the first week. That web application is pretty simple. It's a quote generator. So think about, take a quote, put it in a form, save it to the database, and randomly display those quotes to any visitor of that page. It's pretty simple. We wrapped it in a responsive design so it looks good on tablet, mobile, desktop, laptop, so you can share with your friends, and it gives you a really good overview over the entire web application framework, the Rails framework, right? You understand model, view, control architecture, you deal with databases, you need to push things to a server, you deal with Git and GitHub, so you get a really solid overview, and you actually build something while doing that. Next, we crank it up a little more and become a little more difficult. We're building a Yelp clone next, and that's all about geolocation, right? We want to have pins on the map, and our students have done all kinds of customization to these apps, right? Last week we were talking about that in more detail in the info session because I got more questions on that, and it's all about like putting your favorite climbing spot on a map. I put my pizza places on a map. Right now, maybe I would put surf spots on a map because I'm really into surfing. Other people put on the best meditation places in quiet corners in New York City and Manhattan, the best dog walking parks, right? Make that app your own, customize it. That's what our mentors are for. But then the features that you're building while you're doing that is anything from user authentication, so log in, log out, user registration, setting up accounts. We have obviously the pin on the maps, right? We're integrating with the Google Map API there and taking latitude and longitude coordinates, passing them into the API so we get pins on the map back. Then we also do star ratings, user comments, automated email notifications, a user dashboard showing some metrics. That's all wrapped into this application. Next, we're going to make it a little more difficult, and we build a two-sided marketplace. The two-sided marketplace means we make it about education, so there's instructors that can create accounts on our web app on one side, and there's students who can create on the other side, on our web app on the other side. And then the students can purchase content that the instructors are producing. We have in video and text content, and the students can pay for that content. And now that's where it starts becoming complicated because we need to make sure we can have credit card transaction and debit card transaction flowing through our platform. And then the two-sidedness of that marketplace becomes really challenging. And that's where a lot of learning is in that app, because we need to figure out how can we make the money flow to the right person and which student has access to which course. The ones they purchased, the ones maybe they just previewed, others instructors may have set it up so they can see the first two lessons but none of the other ones. These are paid content, and that's basically what that complexity down in the database comes in. And that's like the data structures, the database architecture, and that's what you're going to be learning by building a two-sided marketplace. Now, next, we're going to go a lot real world, and we introduce test-driven development. And that is kind of what the bread and butter of any developer is, or software engineer for that matter as well. And that basically means that we need to write automated software tests to make sure that all the features that we're building and shipping live on our server into the internet are actually working. And as developers, we always like to make things as streamlined and easy as possible. So rather than clicking around manually and checking that something is working, like an email sign-up form, we want to have an automated test running that. And test-driven development is pretty much that. It gets a bit more advanced, but that's something that you need to know as a developer in the real world every single day to ship your code live, to produce code and actually work together with the team. So we're doing that. Next, you know the Ruby language pretty well by now because you've built several applications, and this is all the web applications strand, and we're also working on Ruby with the algorithms. I'll talk about that in a moment. But you're already really familiar with the Ruby language, and then crank it up, and we add JavaScript on top of that, where we have you build a web application completely from scratch using nothing but JavaScript. And that really is a deep dive into JavaScript, so you know how to not only improve the interface and make really good UI decisions and write the code for it, but you also know how to integrate JavaScript and better UI pieces into an existing Rails application, right? So you get that 1-2 punch combination in there. You get two programming language, not only Ruby, but JavaScript, and then you also understand how JavaScript and Ruby work together inside of a Rails framework. These are the web applications that we're building. Now, let's talk about the algorithms, right? We start out pretty simple. If you've already an intro course, we kind of ramp up these coding challenges that we have in the intro course and then go a lot more in depth, right? These are typical computer science algorithmic challenges. These are real interview challenges that we used in a technical interview by lots of companies, and they go anywhere from search algorithms, sorting algorithms, anything that you need to build complex web applications. And at the moment when these two strands combine, that's when we're starting you out on the Agile Team Project. Now let's dive into that and talk a little bit about the Agile Team Project and why that matters so much, not only for landing a job, but also for becoming an in-demand software engineer. Agile Team Project is 8 weeks long, and during those 8 weeks, you will be matched with 3 to 4 other students, and a VP of engineering or CTO who is leading this team. And they will treat you the same way they will treat a team on their job, on their regular job, right? So you're getting that real world experience. What we're building is a chess game inside of a Rails application. And now a lot of people usually come and say, come on, Marco, a chess game, that's not really exciting. But when we went out and we talked to our mentors, right, senior developers from places like Shopify, eBay, PayPal, smaller startups from Product Hunt, Y Combinator, Techstars, right? When we talked to them, it became apparent that if we told them, hey, how about a chess game? They're like, wow, that's impressive because it's so complex. And if you think about it, how many rules there are in a chess game just to move the pieces across the field? If you need to detect automatically what happens when checkmate happened, the castling move, there's so many rules. I don't want to go into details of the chess game and bore everyone, but it is really complex to do. And that complexity is what developers do every single day. They solve complexity, they solve technical challenges through code. Showing that by building a chess game as part of a team is pretty much a demonstration that, yes, I'm able to hit the ground running in the real world on a job from day one. So I'm a high impact employee. Demonstrating that will help you tremendously in your job search. Now, what happens during the Agile Team Project, right? We're in a team, we have somebody doing this. You will get stories assigned, features, tickets assigned that you need to build, maybe together with another teammate, so you can pair program, maybe by yourself. But you need to work with other people. You need to communicate, you need to review code from other team members, tell them what they can improve. Not an easy task starting out, but it gets better and better and easier as you move. And you also get feedback from other people on your code, right? There's oftentimes multiple ways to arrive at the same conclusion, but one piece of code is usually better. So figuring that out is huge as well, because that's always what happens in every code review section in the real world as well. So that group project, in essence, is that real world experience, and you get that for 8 weeks, and that's a huge competitive advantage down the line when you actually go into the job prep, which is my next point that I want to do. But before I dive into how we prepare you for the job hunt, for the job search, remember, if you have any questions, put them in the little box on the YouTube page or email me. And I just saw another email that came through on my machine, so I'll jump into that as well right afterwards. Now, how do we help you how do we help you find a job? What's our job prep like, right? So I think the most important is that we teach you how to fish, and we don't give you just fish. We can give you a few introductions to companies, but it was much more important and something that's helping you for the entirety of your career as a developer is, how do I actually set myself up for success, right? Where do I look for jobs? What are the best job search engines? How do I prepare my resume? How do I reach out? How do I network? Which events should I go to? And how do I create a pipeline of a sales funnel that leads to the result of me landing job offers, getting job offers, and then picking the one that works best for me, right? So reverse engineering the entire job search strategy, and then giving you step-by-step instructions of how to get to that end result. We have over 52 lessons on that, with goals, with checkpoints, with challenges that you need to complete to get to that end point. And we just launched that, I think, this week or late last week. So that is something that all our students are getting right now, and our graduates as well. So that job prep is the first that is out there. That's the job optimization search track for coding bootcamp students. And taking advantage of that will be a huge help by actually making a strategy and having like a clear pipeline of how to get to that job. Now, I want to dive in and answer some questions. So let me see what I received so far from all of you. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in right now. Let's see if you received anything. Great, you're stuck. Okay, here's one question. I said somebody didn't receive the link right now. We'll deal with that later. To that question, so maybe their email went to the spam folder. Okay, here's one. I want to check on the YouTube page as well. But we have one question, like, what? This is a question I got last week as well. Other people asked that. It's like, how are we different, right? And I think there's several reasons why we're different. And the first one I'd say is always the depth of the curriculum, right? So we're teaching you test-driven development. We go deep into the database. We teach you algorithms. We teach you how to build advanced web applications. We combine all of that during the Agile team project, right? So you get to learn, but you also get to apply your skills in a real-world setting. And I frankly don't see that happening anywhere else, that you learn the algorithms, data structures, the web applications, and then build that into an advanced product at the end as part of an Agile team. Now, the second thing is our mentors, right? We have world-class mentors that take our students under their wing. And these mentors are senior developers and CTOs, companies like PayPal, Shopify, eBay, Parttime, Textiles, Y Combinator. I mentioned that before, right? So you get somebody like that, not just somebody who learned to code at a boot camp and just graduated a few months before you. You actually get somebody with years of experience to take you under the wing and help you when, not only when you're stuck, but help to raise your coding game every single mentor session to the next level, right? If you think about the support system that we're having, if you get stuck, we have our forum. And if you're in an intro course, you know that, right? You get stuck, you take a screenshot of the error message, put it into the forum, and then you get the result, you get your answer back. So you never stuck, you never spin your wheels. You can move a lot quicker and only focus on the critical things that you want to talk together with your mentor about, be it a new test that you need to make during the test-driven development or an advanced feature that you want to build on top of your existing application. Now, the last point I'd say is our community, right? If I'm looking at our students, if I'm looking what they're doing, I'm seeing the group projects that they're doing together, how they pair programming there. I see the technical talks that they're giving during our monthly lightning talks, where they all come together and teach each other topics that they learned while in the program, or something that they maybe did together in a mentorship session. So that idea sharing, I see our community page, I see our Slack channel, I see all that communication, how people help each other out, meet up in the real world, meet up online for pair programming. So I think the three things that are most important are the depth of the curriculum, the mentor network that you're getting there, the world-class mentors that are meeting with you one-on-one, and then the students, the entire Firehose project community. Let me see what other questions we have. Here's another one. It's like, I get this asked a lot. Maybe that's somewhere on, I want to check the YouTube page as well, but maybe that's someplace on our blog, something like, have we taught at Harvard? Yes, we actually did. And if you're looking at how we started, right? We started with teaching in the classroom. We taught hundreds of students at places like Harvard Business School, Carnegie Mellon, Babson, Brown University, Rhode Island School of Design, and many more. And we took what we learned in the classroom and we applied it to our online learning platform. So when we say that this platform is engineered to make things click for you, that's what we mean, right? We did so many tests in the classroom, understood how each individual learns complex coding concepts the best, and we applied that to our platform. So that's what you're getting. And that's why we taught at Harvard, because we really wanted to nail that before we come out with our online platform. Now, Ken just asked me a question, is the part-time program different from the full-time program? So the part-time and the full-time program, right, we have a program that's 22 weeks long, 21 weeks actually, and 22 weeks long and 42 weeks long. And the intro course, the first 2 weeks is on top of that, right? That refers to the core 20 2 weeks of the core program of the 42-week program. The difference is that you can pace yourself a little more on the 42-week program. It's a part-time program. If you don't have as much time, right, we're looking at how many hours should you dedicate to coding every single week. In the accelerated pace, the 22-week program, we're looking at 25 plus to 35 plus hours per week. So it's gets close to full-time. Some students do that while they have a job, and it still works. They code a lot on the weekend, code a little bit in the morning, code a little bit in the evening. And then other people go for the moderate pace, which is the 42-week program. And that's like, we're talking between 10, 15 hours of coding a week. And that's the content that you're getting is the same, but we start the Agile team project later with you. If you have more time, you can space out your mentorship sessions a little more. You don't have to have them necessarily so condensed. You can have a little bit spacing, maybe work on a passion project. So Ken, I hope that answered your question, but good question. Let me know if there's anything else that you got. Another per email. Are you teaching algorithms as well from Emma? Yes, I mentioned that before. We go in depth on that. We teach you data structures. We teach you algorithms. So we'll definitely do that as well. And yes, I answered that. I think those are all the questions. Let me see if I received another one. I think that is pretty much it. That was an awesome info session. Ken, again, I hope I answered your question. Emma answered your question, and Raja as well. So thanks so much for coming. I hope this was helpful. As I said before, we go to firehoseproject.com, sign up for our intro course, code with us, see how you like it, submit your coding challenges, build your portfolio page. We give you feedback on it. If you get stuck, you have a forum, you get to check out the platform, get to meet a few students, get your code reviewed, and I think that's really helpful for you no matter what you decide to do next. Thanks so much for all the awesome questions. Thumbs up, and I hope to see you in the intro course and see your code come through. Take care. Bye.